Joining me this morning is a lady who has been married for 2 months. Is it 6 months now? Eh?
8.
8?
Yes.
Okay.
Banangi.
Okay, we are
reduce my yards.
Seeing the clothes are starting to be big.
Brian.
What?
Her husband is very hardworking.
Yeah.
I'm putting on
buys food.
Okay, in that sense.
Are you taking care of Mr. M?
Yes, I am taking care of him.
In all ways?
Yeah, you know he has the moral authority to ask some things. He's a married man.
Is he complaining?
We are asking you.
We are asking you.
I don't think he's
You're treating him nicely,
I am treating him well.
Okay.
You're sure?
I trust you.
You're sure when I find him out and ask him?
Yes, he has put on weight, so I think those are signs.
Put on weight?
Yes.
That means you're giving him bad food.
And also, Kampala's most eligible bachelor.
You're spoiling my CV.
No!
Somebody out there who was probably about to say yes, they're thinking, Kumbe, this guy has been
has no plan.
He has been there waiting forever.
What does eligible bachelor mean? That you're available?
You're there, you are forgotten, you're rusted, I don't know
necessarily. I think it means you're ripe.
Yeah.
Ripe.
Yes.
Yeah, but you're ripe, and what's wrong with you?
Not exactly wrong with you.
I don't know, but the innuendo to it is, but now this chigai.
I don't think someone would refer to Olaro Tuno as eligible bachelor. No.
What, he's outdated, eh?
Yeah.
You talk badly.
Post-dated bachelor. But you are, okay, you are mourning at NTV's most eligible bachelor. And this morning, Joel and Mabel are joining me on Everyday Life to talk about wedding meetings. What is your experience, Mabel? What was your experience when you had wedding meetings?
Well, before I got married, I had thought I would not want to have wedding meetings. I would actually want to sell cards to my friends and family members. And if someone wants to give over and above, they can do that. Because, like I've said before, I can buy food for you. We can go out and have lunch, and I can pay for it, maybe 60,000 shillings. But I can't do it on the same day for 50 other people. So at least, let some people contribute. And also, wedding meetings are a pain. No one, as soon as you get a message, you can be in office. Who is this now who has sent me a message? People hate wedding meetings, so I did not want to burden people by saying, come, be at this place at 6 p.m. on Thursday. So I thought, if I bring you a card, and I tell you this card is maybe 70,000 shillings, you would pay to come.
What's the difference?
At
the end of the day, you're asking me to give you money.
But I'm not taking your time on a Thursday evening or Friday evening. I'm not passing around chairman's bag. And I'm making sure you contribute to my wedding.
Yeah, because you'll attend. Look, unlike the two of you, I do not have the liberty to speak contumaciously because you are already married. You have crossed already. So me, I have to be very careful.
You may do the wedding meeting.
Yeah,
so be very careful when you say this. But you have attended wedding meetings.
A couple of them I've chaired, a couple of them. Let me start this way. I think we have blown weddings out of proportion. And maybe this is the real cause of this, yeah? You go to somebody's wedding, you see the dress they wore, you see the decor they have, and etc., and you're thinking, I want to do this. And yet, you're a penurious fellow. You are broke, or at least your standard is not exactly that, so you say, I have to do this, And so you begin to pull strings left, right, and center. But you see, here in Africa, we do things together, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We are family, we celebrate together. And of course, if we're celebrating together, everybody brings what they can. And that's a good thing to do. So for starters, I think there's nothing diabolical about wedding meetings. It's getting people together to contribute to this function. Besides, they're going to celebrate with you. However, of course, the challenge is, you find somebody you started with, 20 years ago, they have not kept touch since then, and then all of a sudden, boom.
A text message, not even a phone call before.
Yes, and you're getting these on a daily basis, you begin to get act, and you're thinking, but Banange, so you're using me. And I think that's where the problem is. You go for the wedding
but
meeting.
if I have your contact, is it wrong for me to send you a message?
For goodness sake, do you remember me 20 years later?
I looked through my phone. No, we haven't had things that have brought us together in the past. So now, it's a party, it's a wedding. Hello, it's time to get together. So I will look through my phone, get all my contacts,
and give them to the other service
ask
provider.
SMS Media or Blue Cube, send messages to all my contacts.
So that's a lousy way of doing it. For starters, if you've not kept touch, you're guilty. Yeah, so you want to do it nicely. Get the phone, call me up, first apologize, and then tell me, by the way, I have a celebration coming up, and hopefully you can be a part of it. But just sending me a text message, you have not called me in donkey's years.
I can understand why people would do such a thing, because I wouldn't want someone later on to say, Mabel, you did not invite me. So yes, we have not been in touch in 20 years.
Lying. When they meet you after your wedding, you got married.
You didn't invite me.
What? They are just guilty that they did contribute.
And some of them will say, oh, I wasn't aware or anything. But I still feel, if you haven't really talked to the person, I don't like it as well, but I guess in a way it's an unnecessary evil. By the way, I must say we did have wedding meetings.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I did not sell cards as was my original plan.
What happened? Did the parents superimpose?
Both sides, actually his side more. They said, what if we want to give you more than you're selling the cards for? And I'm thinking, if I'm selling a card 100,000, give me the 200,000 instead of showing that you don't want to buy a card. And then my mother was like, Nebo, I don't think it's nice for you to sell.
Become a vendor.
Yeah, but then you find people giving you, and no disrespect, you find people giving you 30,000 shillings, and you're thinking, and they want to come with their wife.
And
it depends on the venue.
The maid has to take care of the children while the mother.
My venue was not one where food was 20,000. So food was a bit on the high side. So you really at least pay for your food.
You guys, you seem to be castigating wedding meetings.
Not me.
And you want to go on record.
I need to be safe here.
My own experience is that, you know, and call me bad or selfish, there are a couple of people whose money I returned. And I think it's because what Mabel has said.
You returned it.
You cannot give me 20K and you come with your husband.
Also,
yet the food is going to cost me 50 Gs. Take your money, come to church where it's free. Period. You know, like I had to cross the line.
Well, you can take the money.
I told my wife, oh, she's your friend. Okay, please return the 20K. Mobile money had the 20K. Tell her she's welcome to church.
Come on, that's callous. Probably could say, you know what, I thank you for the contribution, but
yes, I did.
Probably you don't return it. You probably don't give them a card, an invitation card, but
they feel they have the moral authority.
Yeah, because they have given you.
Like,
wait a minute, you're like, this 20K is not enough.
How dare you take my money and not even invite me to your wedding?
No, you explain to them, but getting the money and saying, you know what, you'll be low.
No, but that's the truth. The food was 50K, so what do? I feed 2 mouths that I've given, actually 3 because they had a baby.
You know they're probably watching you right now.
Joel, you will get there.
Yeah, and
you will have a list.
You know, wedding meet, and I see some people, for example, nowadays they do a launch, you know, so they get you together and so on, and then people pledge, and thereafter they follow you up. You know, wedding meetings in essence are not bad, but you see, the challenge with them nowadays, why people are getting apoplectic about them, is you go for the wedding meeting, and then they are telling you, I don't know, either put 10K or you remove your shoes. Or, you know, and sometimes you really, well, there's the fun bit about it, and that's okay, but you see, sometimes people are really pushed, and you really see somebody trying to squeeze money out of everybody.
What's the use of wedding meetings? Because I have also had the opportunity of auctioning for friends, and the first thing I tell people, we are here to get money.
Absolutely.
If you've come to pass time, the gate is there. We're here to fundraise. I want to say the truth to people. So, fortunately,
maybe the nicer way would be that, look, we are here to support our brother, our sister, so let's do this together.
Yeah,
but you know, even the language at times, you hear the auctioneer say, you must, you know, if you don't want, you're thinking, are you kidding me?
I've bought your tie. I've bought your...
So you need to encourage people that, you know what?
Is there anything good? Because we see everyone I've talked to says wedding meetings are bad. All couples will start saying, you know, I'm not going to do a wedding meeting. Because I've seen weddings that have literally happened because of those meetings. People gave out of the ordinary.
And do you think sometimes they give because they have been pushed? Maybe yes, but again, it's important that people give willingly. So instead of really coercing them, you want to cajole them. You know, help them understand. To cajole is to encourage nicely, you know. Tell them that, look, this is our brother, our sister, our friend getting married. Let's support them. So you encourage them as opposed to, you know, getting them on board as if you're conscripting them into this. And I think that's where the challenge is.
Right.
People give, and at the end of the day, it's not that they've given too much, but they feel like they were forced to. So you want to find ways of, you know, encouraging them and, you know, so that they are a part of this celebration.
All right, let's get some phone calls. The numbers are on your screen. Good morning. 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 Hello. Okay, let's, hello, good morning. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, good morning, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Dozira.
Yes, what's your name?
Sonia.
Yes, Sonia, what's your experience about wedding meetings?
Am I live on air?
Yes, you are.
Hey, hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, Brian.
Yes.
I am asking you about the contribution that you're talking about, people contributing less. I think it's unfair for you to say that someone who gives you 20,000 should return, I mean, you return 20,000. I mean, someone gives what they can. So what happens in the case of someone who gives 1 million shillings? Are they going to get it from a bucket, a saucepan, you know? I think it's not fair.
Right. What is your experience? Are you married?
I'm not married, but I've been invited to wedding meetings, so I don't understand how you return 20,000. So what do you do in case of someone who gives you 1 million? Are you going to take the 70 and return the balance? I think it's not fair. It's very impolite.
Right.
Someone gives what they can.
Right. Well, thank you very much for your comment. Is this the case of the baton in the Bible?
The baton, what do you mean?
You know, the old woman gave her baton and that's all she could.
Well, what I can say,
a coin. Is that the case?
Well, what I want to say is I had friends, and there's one particular friend who was in the process of actually losing a job. She had been suspended and she was fighting battles with her employer. She's a good friend of mine. Now, I did not expect any contribution from her. I did not. I could even understand why she couldn't attend.
There are friends of yours who you know that will not give.
So obviously, I gave her a card willingly. There are some people who were going through hard times, and you know, this is my friend. But then there are people whom you know are working.
That they can give you more than 20K. Those are the people I'm talking about.
Probably at that point, you know, their budget is an impecunious one.
Okay, let's take a phone call. Good morning. You're live on Morning at NTV. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good morning, sir. Where are you calling from and what's your name?
This is Innocent. I'm calling from Uganda.
Yeah, Ibanda?
Yes.
Yes, your comment.
I really don't want to differ much from the current speaker, but it is also very important to know that when you're making a wedding, you're the one inviting people to a celebration. So you should be yourself prepared enough, foot the bills for the meals, foot the bills for the venue, not expect, you know, from the people you're calling.
Right.
Do you imagine you may be having your singer deep in the village who is not able to pay 300 to contribute 100? Will you say first bring money so that you can attend? You see?
All right. Thank you so much for calling.
I think it's right.
Let's take one more phone call. Good morning. Hello? All right. Joel, you're saying?
Yeah, I think he's right and wrong, in my opinion. He's wrong when he says you must be ready to foot all the bills and so on. Rarely is that the case, except if you're going to marry at Olara Otuno's age, you're an ambassador, you have all the money.
Good morning.
Yes,
good morning.
Lion.
Yes, good morning. Who is this?
Kato Kawesa, I'm calling from Bwaise.
Hey, Bwaise Agamatia.
Mwana Bwaise tuli wano omanyi olukuba lukedde kutonnya. Era nga bwobimanyi
so lero temukoze
ndamwe muli eno ewaffe.
Yesebo. Kati kumulama oteso otya kumulamwa.
Naye nze kyenyinza okugamba kiri ekintu kimu nti olwaleero nganze Kato Kawesa nkugamba ekintu kimu.
Yesebo. Katoka wesangula airtime wow or demo tukubide. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm saying where the gentleman is right is it's important to plan. If you've decided you're going to get married, plan and prepare. I think that's important. Many times you're thinking, hey, well, this was caught unaware, so you want to plan. But truth is...
They put socks on the budget.
You know. But rarely are you going to be able to meet that 100%. Yeah, so plan, prepare to the extent to which you can, then get friends on board. And then you see what the previous caller, the lady was saying of if somebody has given you 1 million shillings, maybe that you try and find a balance, you know, because there are those that will give you 20K, there are those that cannot give you anything. But you see, when you look at the budget, how much has come in, can you cater for some of these? Especially the close relatives,
do all of us have
friends
where you expect, like, for example, Joel, if I did a wedding, Joel, I'm sure you'd expect, okay, well, you're going to get married soon.
I was actually going to say, let's change the roles.
Yeah, you're going to get married very soon.
So I expect like a
1 million
guys,
from there are guys you surely expect to give you more than a 50K. You have those friends. You have those friends you're sure. Watch it, the first 100 people will give me maybe 10 million shillings. And I'm sure every couple does that. But if a one Mulondo Brian gives you a 10K, I am coming with my wife and 2 children to your wedding, what goes through your mind? What will go through your mind?
That you are a brigand, you are a thief. but truth be told, there's a time, I think in a month, I had like 8 weddings of very close people to me.
Yeah.
For goodness sake, I don't work for the UN, yeah? So for some, I
gave
some
UN
money.
Has failed to pay its staff.
They are on strike, you know? So for some, I gave some money. Some I was available to help. Others, I told them, you know what, I'm sorry, I would love to help, but I'm not in position to. Even though, you know, initially they thought that Joel can. But you see, they didn't know that I had 8 weddings in 1 month. Can you imagine that? Of very close people. Some relatives, some very close friends. But I cannot
and you have to give all of them.
You know, so it's not possible. Sometimes that is the case. You look at one Joel, you're thinking he should be able to, and it that particular month, it could not even be that he has 8 weddings, but I don't know, something has happened and his budget is an impecunious one for that particular month. I don't know.
I want us to help people who are going to get married, and obviously the finances are little.
Maybe help us.
But they want to give their wife, or you know, they want to make it official. What are some of the creative ways to fundraise for money? You know, I remember one of my friends. I told them, if I am auctioning a glass, I am not going to auction for you. So get gifts.
A gift, yeah.
Like get a believable gift. And some people have gone out of the. Some people provide 5-star. You know, holidays, and you're like, hey boss, why don't you go for that for your honeymoon instead of auctioning it here? What are those creative ways you can use?
Well, I'll start by saying, do not get into debt. Now, that was something my husband and I had planned from the start. Right. If we can't afford it and it's the last minute, we will cut it out. Okay. No, because we're not going to postpone the wedding, but we'll just cut it out. Don't get into debt. You know, that is, I think, the most practical thing. Don't start borrowing money to pay for things.
Many women are, we are told many women push their husbands on pressure. Because you want a tent of 7 million shillings, and you saw it in a movie, you want it to happen. And so the guy is forced to borrow because you're likely to call off the wedding if that tent is not
I know the ladies should also be realistic. And what are you bringing to the table? Okay, for me, I am much older and I had been working for longer. So I was able to buy, I bought my dress, I bought a couple of things for myself. And obviously I did make a contribution. But for someone who has just left campus and probably is not working, it may be harder for that lady to but she should to bring a lot to the table of the wedding. But you should be realistic. Don't build, if you want a 7 million tent, be realistic. You know, are people going to remember the 7 million tent afterwards? That, the tent was 7 million.
Next weekend, somebody will do one of 14 million.
Exactly. So what are you going to do? But practical ways, selling things that are actually good. I went for a wedding meeting and they had little cakes for sale. And then even Ben Winnie, I think the wedding launch, if you remember, he had some very nice, he had just really good things that you could actually want to buy, you know. So I think having, and people are willing to buy those items, even if, you know, you're buying maybe
I've seen people auction microwaves,
but you need to be sure that the ones who are coming are the who is who. Because the microwave is like what, 250K? If you auction it and out of it you've gotten 150K. Problems, yes. But you see, bottom line, I think, and what she's saying is, we should operate within our means. We should live within our
operate
means.
within your means. If you can't afford
how much
a tent of 7 million,
a couple
don't have
expect a wedding meeting to collect? As a couple, you have your own money set aside. Some people will expect the wedding meeting to bring 100%. What should be the reasonable amount that you think wedding meetings can bring for you?
I don't know that there's a particular figure, but see what works for you. Like you're saying, see how much do you have now, and then how much do you need for the wedding, and then you try and understand, okay, if we have 40% or 50%, how are we getting the other 50%? We'll call on relatives, friends, and so on. But you see, as D-Day draws nigh, you begin to adjust, because like you're saying, you want to live within your means. You know, if at the end of the day, all you have is the 50% that you had initially, you're going to cut down and maybe invite a few people and so on. Just do it within your means.
Right.
A friend of mine told me, Joel, for me, I will live within my means even if I have to borrow to do so. I said, but let's live within our means. You know, it's a one-day thing. The marriage is the lifetime event, you know. This one is going to be forgotten, like she was saying. People are going to do better things, and, you know, so live within your means. But let's support people. I think that's important.
Yes.
You know, let's support. Let's not be stingy and penurious.
When was the last time you attended a wedding meeting?
Wedding meetings, because sometimes of the kind of work we do, you know, you find you are, you know, on a platform somewhere, the radio, that kind of thing. But we support them. I may not be able to come for your wedding meeting, but I'll give you money because my coming for the wedding meeting anyway is for money. So if I cannot make it for one reason or another, I'll still give you. I mean, that's what is important.
Yeah.
A couple of guidelines, of course, and this should probably...
Mr. Savafumbo.
No, of course I am the senior here. But maybe we should even talk about this another time. There's an African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. And I've talked to many couples who say, my mother will not invite this number of people to my wedding. And I've told couples,
it's your mother's wedding.
That wedding is actually not your wedding as a couple. That wedding is for your parents. So if you can afford, of course, let your parents invite the singer that even carried you for one day. You might not have met them throughout your whole life because you are living in Nakasero while your singer is in Chanamkaka and you don't want to go there. But if your mother says, let this singer come, please do. There's a lot of drama around wedding meetings where couples will end up discovering their stepsisters, their brothers who have been away for such a long time. This is an opportunity to see those people. Maybe a long-lost OB or OG will come back at a wedding meeting. Again, it's the culture. It may change in the next couple of years where people, you know, we are doing individual stuff. I don't even know what my neighbor is up to. But at the moment, it takes a village to raise a child. That's why you find a guy who will tell you, mchala wa fayati, because he gave some money to your wedding. Of course, there are people who will tell mchala wa nani, but that's the spirit. That's the African spirit, and we should, continue that. If you can help your friend, give the money. Please give the money. Make sure that you help them in that decision, and I think that's what makes us different from the rest of the world. Wedding meetings or not, in school we used to answer a question called wedding meetings are a necessary evil. Discuss. Let's continue this conversation on Facebook and Twitter. And the rest of you, if you're thinking, if your wedding meeting has failed to come up with the necessary amount of money, you can call assassin auctioneers like us and Joel. We shall make sure the money comes out. Joel, when your wedding meetings start, we shall get you the money.
I'll hold you to that.
Shall get you the money.
You know, you've made the promise on national television.
Yes.
This show is recorded. I'll come for evidence. You know, I can even sue you if you don't give me money. I say there's evidence.
All right, but the couples, make sure you put money aside before you get married.
Exactly.
I always tell couples, especially the guys, is your honeymoon sorted?
Very important.
Have you set the honeymoon for your bride?
It doesn't have to necessarily be in Dubai. It could be at Kalanga.
When you come back, is the rent been paid?
Make sure you give your wife the honeymoon of a lifetime. I saved about 1.5 years for my honeymoon. So mchala weyechanga mubwati. I think she remembers the honeymoon and says, why, let me stay. So let's do that on our social media platforms and talk more about this. When we come back, Isma will be here with the sports update. Good morning.